So, why don't we start off by having you tell us a little bit about what it is that you do in the world of art, fashion, and lifestyle?
Well, specifically in fashion, I'm a designer. I'm a fashion designer. I design men's apparel, particularly like a higher end, a better, sportswear. Everything from t-shirts, hoodies, jeans, footwear. I have a fragrance, hats. I mean, it goes on and on and on. So, um, but again, I try and do a better quality of work, like Italian goods, some stuff done here, and just all around good men's collection.
You sound like a Renaissance man. You do it all.
Well, I try not to look at it like that, but I've done quite a bit of work, so I have quite a bit of a background to be able to kind of tie that all together, and you see it in the collection.
Wonderful. So, that brings me to my next thought. How did you know? Like, when exactly did you know that this is what you wanted to do?
Um, I didn't start off that way. I had a background in music before this, but a person I used to work with, he said to me one day, he was playing around. He said, Paul Aarrington menswear. He was trying to be funny about it. He used to play with my name, and I said, you know what? That sounds good. Let's see what I can do. So I took the joke and I ran with it, and I sought out the people that I needed to kind of make that happen because I had no idea about fashion at the time other than I used to get up, I used to get dressed like everyone else. I throw on a hat, throw on my jeans and shirt, and I was out the door. And
Right.
that was as I knew at the time. So,
Wow. Great start. So, tell me, where do you get your inspiration when you're planning a collection? Who, what? Do you have a muse? And what made you go with urban or street fashion?
um, inspiration comes, and it's going to seem strange, but from music. Musically, I can listen to things, and it will kind of take me back to a certain time period. And thinking back to that time period, I can remember the clothing that was worn, the looks that were out, and kind of, draw on that along with the fabrications that are being used today, the particular wash methods and designs and prints and things like that. And I can just put it all together. But I can sit and listen to music all day and be in front of the computer and do graphics, and hours to go by. So a lot of it comes from music. A lot of it comes from being out and about. Well, not so much now because we can't. Obviously, we're not out
Right.
like. But I used to just walk around, look at people. Like I'd be down in Manhattan in the Village and just look at what people are wearing, and just like, oh,
Absolutely.
that's nice. Maybe they just threw that on and they're not realizing that they may be creating a trend. And I'll pick up on it and take it and run with it.
Yeah. Wow. So you keep talking about music. What kind of music is your favorite, like, inspiration music for you?
I don't have any one particular. It just depends on the mood that I'm in. I listen to everything from house music, uh, classic R&B, rap, hip hop. Because I grew up, in that type of music and genre. Because originally I'm from the Bronx,
Okay.
so I grew up listening to that. But I have no particular. It's just what I'm in the mood for at that moment, and I'll throw something on, and I can just kind of be like, yeah, okay, this is what's working, and just get to work. And as the songs change, it motivates me even further. So
Wow.
pretty much anything.
Fosters that creativity. So tell us a little bit about your vertical operations when it comes down to business moves for you.
Um, and this is a long journey just getting to the vertical part of it because I started like anyone else. I started off doing T-shirts and things of that nature, and I used to send my work out to screen printers and embroiderers, and in doing so, I used to build a relationship with a lot of these guys, and they would let me sit in, as I'm doing the printing and the embroidery, and I would learn from them. And as I sat there, I said to myself, I could do this. And I always understood, having the capability of doing your own, not all yourself, but doing it, within your own presence was valuable. So I started learning the equipment that they were using, the printing presses, the embroidery machines, the type of machines, how they ran, and why they did what they did on certain fabrics, and how to achieve a certain look. Because let's say like screen printing a T-shirt, you go to the store, you buy a shirt, and you think nothing of it. You look at the design, you're like, okay, that works for me, and that's that. There are at least 15 to 20 decisions that go into printing just a shirt alone. That's not even, making the actual shirt.
Right.
When I sit down to design a graphic, I have to keep in mind, because I have the screen printing skill as well, I have to sit down and be like, okay, this is doable on the computer, but this is not doable when I start printing.
Wow.
Seeing the computer and what ink is able to do, completely different story. So a lot of that I had to keep in mind, and I learned that from being around these guys. So it prompted me to, piece by piece, kind of build everything, starting with the screen printing, the heat pressing, the embroidery. Then I moved into, actually, I did the photography stuff first. I built it from that way backwards. Being able to shoot my own photography, being able to shoot video, um, pretty much all of it in-house, so that any given moment, I could sit down, design something, and put it together and have a real piece right then, right there. And
Wow.
my reason behind it was, in terms of many other designers, like most of their problem is like you're sending your work out and it takes forever to get it back. You're
Right.
on the printing schedule, you're on the factory schedule. By the time you do all of that, I can sit up one night and have all of my stuff together and have product before you even wake up the next morning. So I've already beat you to the punch.
And I'm sure it cuts on time too, because you don't have to do a draft and you don't have to say, well, that wasn't exactly it. You can work those kinks out yourself and save a little money and time as well there. So really
Exactly.
wise, really wise.
Exactly.
So from start to
Thank you.
finish, you can make that happen.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. And, in the design process, at this point, I'm pretty much sure as to what it's going to look like, absolutely. Because I can design what they call mock-ups and things like that and get a photorealistic mock-up. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll know from beginning to end, before I even start the print process, this is what it's going to look like. And having that printing, skill set allows me to be like, okay, I know it's going to look like this. It's not going to turn out any other way other than what I've put here in design wise. So
That's
it,
nice.
it helps.
Are you
Thank you.
are you wearing a piece right now?
Yeah, I happen to have on a t-shirt hoodie. I was trying to be a little subtle about it, but
I had to call you out. It's very nice.
thank you. Thank you.
So, Paul, we want to jump into our we want to know questions that are a little bit more about you, but they're also about the brand. Are you ready
Okay.
for those?
Yeah, I'm always ready.
You're always ready. So, can you describe your brand to me in 3 words or less?
3 words or less.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Sophisticated men's fashion.
Wow.
Is that 3 words?
That's good. And you know what? I
Okay.
thought I was going to stump you there. You tricked me. That's a great way to explain your brand. Thank you for
Thank you.
doing that. So when you designed your very, and I'm going to take you back a little bit, when you
Sure.
designed and created your very first collection, what
Okay.
was your biggest challenge and what would you do different now that you have all this knowledge and wisdom?
Designing, well, whether it be a collection on the very first pieces that I designed, the biggest hurdle was knowing what I didn't know. You don't know what you don't know, so you're going in like excited, like, oh, I'm going to do this, is going to sell, is going to look like that, and as you begin to put it together, and you get to the finished piece, you're like, wow, okay, that's not exactly what I saw in my head, but and but you run with it anyway, and you put it out there, and you get the feedback. This is where your personality and starting to develop a thick skin comes in, because some people are kind of hard with the criticism. They'll see some pieces and they're like, oh wow, this is terrible. And you're saying to yourself, I worked on this for hours, and you thought it was
Right.
great, but Apparently not. Um, the challenge is knowing how to design something that not only looks good but is sellable. Because there's a difference between designing something that just looks good on its own and something that looks good and is sellable. You know, excuse me. A lot of people want things that look good on them as they walk out and about, not just something that, as a designer, you sit and create, and you're saying to yourself, "Wow, this looks good," but can you see it on other people? Can you
Right.
see it in a retail store? Can you see it, in proximity with some of the major designers? Can you see it on a hanger next to their product and still feel good about it? And there's a difference, and there was a learning curve
Right.
trying to understand that process.
Right. So my next question I want to ask you about is collaborations. I don't know if you do collaborations, but if you could collaborate with any celebrity or other brand, who would it be?
Whew. Okay. Let's see. At one point, when this was maybe about like 2010, I think 2010, 2011. I was saying to myself, there was a particular celebrity I wanted to get some product on, and it happened to be Will Smith at the
Okay.
time. And I said to myself, wow, it would be great to, be able to get to him. And I was just trying to figure out who I knew that was in proximity to him so I can kind of begin the process of, getting to him. So one day I had a meeting. I used to have an office on 21st Street in Manhattan, 21st and 6th. And we were having a meeting, and I forgot my keys to the office. So we went to Barnes& and Noble right there on 6th Avenue.
Okay.
And we went upstairs. We was like, okay, let's eat. Let's have this meeting, do what we got to do. And sure enough, I looked over, and Jada Pinkett was, coming into Barnes& and Noble. I was like, oh, okay, wow. Let me go downstairs,
Yeah.
and chat with her, and maybe I can get to him.
Mm-hmm.
Before I even got down the escalator, Will Smith was right there.
Wow.
Right there. And I introduced myself. I actually had a postcard on me at the time, so I had a picture of the product and things like that on it. And I handed him the postcard, and the first thing he said to me was, "Are you any good?" And I was like, "Well, I think so."
Right.
So so he said, "I'll have my assistant call you, and we'll go from there." So I was like, "Oh man, I know what that means," because when they get the assistant to call you, then it's like. But before I even got back up the steps or up the escalator, his assistant called me. Not even
Wow.
2 minutes later. So he is that type of person. So I did get a chance to kind of collaborate with him on some products specifically for him for the time period that he was in New York. Because at the time he was filming Hitch.
Okay.
So I met with them at the place they were staying. I met with his assistant. And, they don't let you deal with him directly. They have a very tight, group of people around him, and
Mm-hmm.
his organization functions well. So they gave me the specs about his measurements and the type of fits that he likes. I presented fabrics and things like that. They selected the fabric. They loved it. I went back. I had my people. We put it together. There you go. You
Wow.
know.
You know what it sounds like to me though? That's a wonderful collaboration story, but it also sounds like you were ready. You were
Yeah.
prepared for that opportunity. What can you say about that? Can you speak on that?
I think like with anything, as you start to learn how to manifest certain things around you. You draw to you the people and the things that and the situations that you need. And that was a case. That was a particular case where it was on my mind, and particularly I was looking to deal with him, and the opportunity presented itself. I had everything I needed right then and there, and it worked out. What the saying is that opportunity. I mean, preparation and what is it? Preparation and luck meets opportunity, something to that effect. But
Right. But
basically, you have to be prepared, just like you said, for anything. So preparation is key at all times because you never know when an opportunity is going to come, and you have to be willing to take it.
that's
You know.
right. That's right. And
So,
so my last we want to know question for you is would you rather be loved or would you rather be feared?
definitely not feared. I would love it much better, because people respect you. They respect you for a different reason. You know, people, when they fear you, they respect you, but they respect you out of their own safety.
Right.
To me, is never a good thing, you know, because then people turn around and be like, the first opportunity that they get to, you know, kind of move away from that situation where they don't feel safe, they'll take it, you know, and whether that requires, you know, injuring you or whatever it be, it's never a good situation. It's never a good situation.
Absolutely. So there's a lot happening in the world right now, Paul. As you all know, we have social injustice going on and the protests for that. We have this COVID-19 pandemic happening. How has everything that's happening in the world, specifically COVID-19, impacted how you are monetizing, doing business, and earning?
Um, a lot of it has changed fashion, as you know. There are a lot of companies that are filing for bankruptcy, that are going out of business, closing stores, or whatever it is they need to do to preserve their capital. What I've found is that there are a lot more people that are shopping online, you know, at the moment. And, you know, it's still kind of, oh, okay, I get it. But it's still kind of fickle as far as, you know, how often that's going to be a consistent, you know, scenario, you
Right,
know, because there are a lot more people that are still unemployed, still losing their jobs as, in the process of some of these businesses closing.
right.
You know, so what I've tried to do is as we move into like being able to shoot our own web ads and web commercials and things like that, because I have a background in music, I'm going to score the commercials and things myself, most likely using house music. A good friend of mine, Kenny Summit, owns a record label called Good For You Records. It's a
Okay.
prominent label in the house music and dance music industry. So I've collaborated with him and put a deal together so that the music that we're going to have in the commercials or the ads will actually be available for sale on his record label.
Wow.
So, you know, a lot of times you'll watch a commercial and the music is nice and you're like, wow, well,
Right.
okay. You know, so if you can buy the product and the music at the same time, that's, to me, it just made sense. You know, it was just another way to monetize what, you know, I was already doing. Like the commercials are needed, the advertising's needed. So if I can show you a good commercial to buy the actual product, but at the same time, you're like, wow, that'd be nice. Listen to that in the car, you know, so.
Absolutely. Smart businessman, smart business
Thank you.
moves. Um,
Thank you.
as a business owner, it's important to stay connected with community and to give back. How do you do that?
Um, for me, is more so through kids. In 2010, it was. I think it was 2010. I did an event called Kids for Fashion, and the objective of Kids for Fashion was to take a group of kids and teach them how to be entrepreneurs, how to create their own opportunities for themselves to make money or to, you know, create a business for themselves. So I connected with a company called Hip Hop for Life, and we got a group of kids. We broke them up into two groups. We called the groups corporations. One became a CEO, one became a marketer, and one became in terms of like product development and production. You
Wow.
know, I sat them all down in the classroom. We went over the terms. I printed out the sheets so that they understood how to use the industry jargon officially. You know, we did that for a couple of weeks. I brought in a couple of key speakers from people that do marketing, people that do runway shows, and people that do production and things like that. So they get to hear the stories of these people and what it takes to do what they do, and hopefully motivate them to, move in that direction themselves.
That
Okay.
sounds amazing.
So that being said, you know, each team had to come up with a design concept. You know, they came up with an idea. I actually did the design work that they wanted based on their ideas. And the finale for it was is that we set up a table at 14th Street Union Square in Manhattan, which is
Wow.
an excessively busy, you know, area during the
Right.
daytime. And the kids actually got the opportunity to print the shirts right then, right there for customers to buy it right in front of them.
Wow.
You know, so it gave them a sense of how to go from an idea to a concept to something tangible that becomes sellable.
Right.
And it just changed. I could see the change in a lot of them. Like, wow, this is doable. This is not just something that you see on TV. It's not just something someone else is able to do. I can do this too. And, I found it rewarding. And I know I'm looking to do it again, soon. So,
That's amazing. And not only that, but you gave them like tangible life skills, right? Where they're
exactly.
able to take those seeds that you planted and maybe even develop them and grow into those future designers. So amazing. I'm glad that you were able to do that. And let the Fashion Roundtable know when you get ready to do your next one. We want to help you give back, okay?
Definitely will.
So, Paul, tell us what's next for you in your business, and
Okay.
also tell our followers where we can get a hold of you, how we can connect with you, and how we can shop.
As far as what's next for me is just continuing to design better product, increase the range of products, that I'm able to do. Grow the business just like anyone else. Expand into areas that probably I wouldn't have thought of at one time in the earlier part of my career. As far as where you can find it, you can log on to www.paularringtondenimstudio.com, and the entire gambit of products are there, from hats, hoodies, t-shirts, sneakers, the fragrance, which has actually done well. It's there. And what I'll do, for anyone that's coming for or watching the actual, Fashion Table Round, live show, if you use the promo code VIP, it'll take 20% off. And I'll know you came from here and you actually watched you know, the
Wonderful. Do
interview.
you hear that? VIP. Use
Yeah.
the code, go shop, get you some cologne, some shoes. Really nice product. Beautiful products.
Thank you. So I mean, again, I'm looking forward to doing more work with you guys, and if we can collaborate on the kids, event, that would be great.
That'd be
You know,
awesome. Paul, we can't thank you enough for joining us here at the Fashion Roundtable and dropping these seeds of wisdom. We look forward to doing so much more with you, and we wish you the best in your future endeavors.
Thank you very much, Nancy.
Take care.
Bye.